Hello everybody. Well, today's going to be the last day I stay at this apartment. And it got me thinking about a lot of things, you know. A lot of funny, stupid stuff I've done in the past. I remember before I lived at this apartment, I lived at a studio apartment further in town. Now outside my studio apartment were grapevines. And one day I got the bright idea that I was going to go outside one day on my day off and start picking all these grapes off the vines. And I got the bright idea to make wine out of it. So I put it into a 2-liter bottle, sealed the lid on it, and put it in a cabinet. It was a low cabinet next to the fridge. My idea was to make wine, basically, and I forgot it was there for a while, and when I came back and I noticed it down there, the bottle was so swollen that the little dimples on the bottom that you see usually on bottles were pushed out, and it was just smooth. The bottle was laying on its side like this, okay, because the dimples on the bottom were just pushed out, and it was swollen. Man, that looks pretty serious. I think I'll put it back. I guess that means that the wine is almost done fermenting. Okay? But that's not where the story ends, though. A few days later, I was awoken at 5 in the morning by a massive explosion coming from the kitchen. I went out there. There was grape juice all over the place. And the door on the little cabinet was busted off because of the explosion. There was grape juice all over the place from this bottle exploding in the cabinet. And I started freaking out, you know. I grabbed the dishwashing liquid and a towel and just started wiping everything down. And then I looked up at the ceiling. There was a big spot dripping grape juice all over the kitchen. I tried my best to get to it, but it was already soaking into the drywall and into the paint. Needless to say, I didn't get my deposit back from that apartment. I'm pretty sure there was grape juice underneath the fridge when I moved out, eventually. Obviously, this was the first time I'd ever tried to make homemade wine. And the last. I mean, I painted over the stains on the ceiling, but for some reason, I guess the landlord had been letting herself in the apartment when I wasn't there and snooping around. This lady was constantly having people spy on me and accusing me of having people move into the apartment without her consent. And up to the month there when I moved, I was packing my things up in boxes, and I had the blinds closed on my windows. And this lady had the nerve to tell me that she could see through the windows that there were boxes in the apartment and that I had invited somebody over to stay without her consent. I said, no, actually, I'm moving out. Then she said, well, you're not getting your deposit back because you're not giving me a 30-day notice. So I produced the rental agreement that we had that said that she wanted a 2-week notice. So she had to find another reason to keep the money. And I guess they knew about the stain on the ceiling from snooping around when I was at work. And even though it was painted over and completely inconspicuous, they knew about the stain, and I didn't get my deposit back. So I guess the moral of the story is either learn how to make wine the right way or just buy it at the store. And don't rent from people that are scumbags like her. For any of you who've been watching my videos for any length of time, you knew that recently I had a medical emergency that I had to deal with, relating to a pimple that I popped. And well, this is a video of stupid things I've done part 2. So first I'm going to show my medical bill. right there. That's the money I owe right there, $844.54. And this is basically the list of things that I'm being charged for. Stuff right here. So basically what happened, I had a pimple right about right here on my lip. And being an idiot, you know, I popped it. It came back, so I just squeezed my lip really hard. And I guess it broke the membrane in my face, underneath my skin. Bacteria got up in there, and my whole face swelled up, basically. And I had to go to the hospital, and they gave me some IVs, and it was really gross, because when the antibiotics kicked in, it started draining. You know, it's gross, but all because of one pimple I popped, I owe $844.54. Well, common sense tells you not to pop pimples anyway. But you know, I wasn't using my common sense, and it's going to cost me almost $1,000. That's pretty stupid, isn't it? I'm a very stupid person for doing this. This is even worse than that wine story, because that only cost me $250. Because of the deposit, I painted over the grape juice stain, but she still kept the money. Wench. I think this right here has to be the stupidest thing I've ever done. Ever. Bar none. And it's going to cost me over, not quite $1,000 to get it fixed, so I have no idea how I'm going to pay that bill, and I'm really screwed right now. Let's just say I'm never going to pop another pimple again. I just can't afford it. It's too expensive. I also lost a day of work, having to go to the hospital. And the prescription itself was only $8, but the rest of it there was just highway robbery, you know? Price gouging. It's too bad the Better Business Bureau can't do anything about the medical industry and the way they overcharge for stupid, asinine stuff, you know? So, you can all laugh at my stupidity, and hopefully I can laugh at it also, eventually. Once the embarrassment wears off, I can start laughing at my own stupidity again. Yeah. I don't have a car, so I rely on public transportation. Okay, in my area there's a public transportation company called Your Ride. It's a curb-to-curb service. Well, after getting off work one night, I went into the van that they pick people up with, and you know, and I sat down, not looking where I was sitting, and one of the other passengers started yelling, "My cake, my cake!" So I looked underneath where I was sitting, and there was a flat piece of cake with a napkin over it. I had sat on this lady's cake and smashed it flat as a pancake. So I kind of tried to act like, hey, I kind of sat next to the cake. I didn't sit on it. And then she stopped complaining. But the whole ride to wherever we were dropping her off at, I was like trying to reach over to where the cake was here, you know, trying to pull the napkin up and get some air underneath it to make it look like it wasn't smashed, you know, because I'd smashed this thing like this flat, right? So I sat in this lady's cake and smashed it flat, and luckily I was able to pull the napkin up and make it look like there was still cake under it. So she gets off the van with her cake in hand, goes into her apartment, and we leave. Right before she finds out, I guess, because I have no way of knowing if she found out or not. Because we got out of there pretty quick when she got out of the van, so it was pretty embarrassing, and I'm just glad I didn't get caught. So, yeah. I know this one really takes the cake, huh?